Well, welcome to a drenched Carrow Road, where the 107th East Anglian derby has finished with Norwich's biggest home win in the league under Daniel Farke, which is a stat that kind of caught me out. Norwich have won 3-0 here. Teemu Pukki scoring twice in the second half, and 68 and 80 minutes, I think it was, something like that. 65 might have been. And Norwich taking the lead after just 2 minutes through Anel Hernandez. It was the first time Norwich got in the Ipswich Town box. In that time, Will Keane had already shoved 3 people over, but that didn't matter. Norwich got in the box, they scored a goal. Mario Vrancic with the assist, and from that point on you kind of felt that this was going to be one of those derby games that did follow the form book, and so it does. Norwich haven't lost to Ipswich Town since April 2009. I think that's now 12 derby games unbeaten. Could be a little while before we get another one, because one of these two sides is probably not going to be in the same division next season, possibly both, and we'll have to see when next these two fine clubs of East Anglian tradition and able to put on quite the East Anglian show end up rocking up together on the same football pitch. But this, in many ways, we have the derby narrative, all the talk about what it means and in terms of the fans, and clearly the Norwich City fans would have loved this. Fair play to the Ipswich fans who filled out their section. They sang through much of it. They must have come in any kind of forlorn hope that this would be a game that would be on the verge of a miracle, effectively. Of course, we had the Paul Lambert factor too, and they did their bit too. It takes two to tango, of course, but I'm a bit conflicted, because the derby stuff is one thing. It was just one of those games where, in terms of the bigger picture, you wanted Norwich City to show what they could do, look after the 3 points given the other results across the weekend, some going in Norwich's favour, some not. And this is brilliant, a brilliant execution of a real opportunity, because Norwich are now 5 points clear of third, which is still Sheffield United. Middlesbrough are that little bit closer. West Brom are in the mix. Those two both have games in hand. And of course, Leeds picked up a really useful injury time point at Middlesbrough. So it's a fascinating picture now at the top of the division. But what we do know is Norwich are top. They've got 60 points from 31 games. And having spoken to Teemu Pukki after today, you start saying 15 games. Well, we've got Preston away on Wednesday, Bolton away on Saturday, and then you're on to 13. And these games are just going to chip away very quickly. It's a long way to go, but there is a lot of football still to be played, and it will of course become more and more important with each passing game. So Norwich got themselves ahead. We knew what Ipswich were going to do. They got in faces, they upset the apple cart, they did as much as they could to put Norwich off their game, and in some instances it worked. Ipswich had a lot of good ball in midfield, and they actually, after half-time, created some good chances. I didn't really agree with Daniel Farke post-match, because he said that Norwich had a better control of the game and countered better in the second half. I mean, they did counter better in the second half, but I actually thought they had probably a better control of the game in the first. Ipswich didn't really create so much. In the second, for the first maybe 10 minutes, there was a period where Ipswich were actually creating good moments. Christoph Zimmermann was outstanding, some brilliant blocks, defended his box so well. He really was outstanding. Stepped in when there were flashpoints and red moments. He really put in a terrific captain's performance and did incredibly well. Norwich had a big injury blow late in the first half, and Mario Vrancic eventually limped out just before half-time. That looks like a nasty ankle injury. I don't think we'll be seeing him in either of the next 2 games. It could be that he faces several weeks off if he's got ligament damage, so that is a bit of a worry going forward, because Mario has been in some really good form. As soon as Alex Tettey came in, I mean, he did well in the second half, Alex, but it didn't bring out the best in Tom Treibel. Norwich are a little bit short of certainly control in terms of possession, albeit they still had some good chances on the break, and to be honest, they still carved out the better opportunities over the course of the game. Stiepermann and Pukki had a one-on-one that should have been converted, and Al Hernandez was through if his first touch had been better. So I mean, it could have been 4 or 5 ultimately, and Tim Krul didn't really have a proper save to make in anger, and there were several flashpoints too, which we should probably get onto, I suppose. Paul Lambert and Chris Domagala were Norwich's head of performance, were both sent off just before half-time. It's a horrendous tackle from John Nolan, which probably was a booking, but then from some angles probably could have been a red as well. I've not quite seen it like this. I've not seen him do this before, but Paul Lambert completely lost it. All of his talk before the game, and we all kind of maybe suggested in the glint in his eye that it still meant quite a lot to him. he lost it. He completely lost it, and he had a policeman trying to calm him down. The stewards were giving him special attention. He got sent to the stands and was obviously able to communicate with Matty Gill in the dugout from the director's box after in the second half through mobile phone. So it wasn't like he wasn't able to do anything, but he was sent off, which of course brought much mirth from the home fans, who were enjoying themselves plenty up until that point anyway. Yeah, quite what happens here in terms of Paul Lambert's job at Ipswich. I mean, the fans all seem quite happy with what he's doing and how he's doing it, but they're an interesting side because they did have good moments and good spells with possession, but defensively they were pretty awful. I think Norwich scored with, as I said, they probably had 5 chances and scored with 3 of them. Brilliantly taken goals by Timo Pukki, by the way. And in the final third, the lack of final ball, I mean, it was just short championship class in both boxes, really. So, and that's really what the table shows. It was nice to see that the table exposed that for itself. I did want to mention Emi Buendia because the man set up both of Timu's goals in the second half. He was kicked all game, stood on his ankle, just sent up in the air, basically from minute 1. I don't think they're the first team to do it to him either. He just gets kicked from pillar to post. You know what? He's come away on the winning side of a 3-0 win with 2 assists. The guy is a machine. He is absolutely brilliant. This is his first season in English football. He has got a bit of niggle to him, of course he has, but he just deals with what's thrown at him and he lets his football do the talking. And Emi Buendia, what a signing he is. You have to say he should be playing Premier League football next season, whether Norwich City are or not. The good thing is that this 3-0 win does certainly make the prospect of Premier League football next season that little bit closer to reality, which you still have to think about it. It's a remarkable situation for Norwich to find themselves in. 20 goals now for Timo Pukki this season in all competitions. That is remarkable. It's a long time since that's happened. First clean sheet in 9 games too. So this really was in the end the result we were kind of expecting and hoping for. 2 huge games now in the North West for Norwich to deal with, and then maybe after those 2 we'll see where Norwich are and whether this trend really is something that can continue into the run-in, which is becoming frightfully close now. So finished Norwich City 3, Ipswich Town 0. No real debates over the pride of Anglia from this point on. And of course PinkUn.com for all the analysis and reaction to this Sunday lunchtime victory. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and few days, and we will see you on the run-up to Wednesday and Preston.